ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaskar, my dear friends. This is video number 23. This video will start with talk number 386. Devotee. In Sri Ramakrishna's life, it is said that an idol, Ramlal, was animate. Is it true? Maharshi, can you account for the animation of this body? Is the movement of the idol more mysterious than the movement of this body? Devotee, metal does not move itself. Maharshi, is not the body a corpse? You will probably consider it as a mystery if the corpse moves. Is that so? Talk number 387. Three persons came on a short visit. The eldest of them asked, there is one process of creation mentioned in the Upanishads and another in Puranas. Which of them is true? Mercy, they are many and meant to indicate that the creation has a cause and a creator should be posited so that one might seek the cause. The emphasis is on the purpose of the theory and not on the process of creation. Moreover, the creation is perceived by someone. There are no objects without the subject. That is, the objects do not come and tell you that they are, but it is you who says that they are the object. The objects are therefore what the seer makes of them. They have no existence independent of the subject. Find out what you are and then you understand what the world is. That is the object of the theory. Duty, the soul is only a small particle, whereas the creation is so huge. How can we surmise it? Maharshi, the particle speaks of the huge creation. Where is the contradiction? Talk number 388. Later, Sri Bhagwan continued. There are so many theories, scriptural and scientific. Have they reached any finality? They cannot. Brahma is said to be subtler than the subtlest, wider than the widest. Anu is an atom, infinitesimal. It ends in subtle perception. The subtlety is of the Sukshma body, that is the mind. Beyond the mind there is the self. The greatest of things are also conceptions. The conceptions are of mind. Beyond the mind there is the self. So the self is subtler than the subtlest. There may be any number of theories of creation, all of them extend outwardly. There will be no limit to them because time and space are unlimited. They are, however, only in the mind. See, the mind, time, and space are transcended and the self is realized. Creation is explained scientifically or logically to one's own satisfaction. But is there any finality about it? Such explanations are called karma srishti, gradual creation. On the other hand, drishti srishti, simultaneously or sudden creation, is yugapad srishti. Without the seer, there are no objects seen. Find the seer, and the creation is comprised in him. While look outward and go on explaining the phenomena which are endless. Talk 389. With regard to presents to Sri Bhagwan, he observed, why do they bring presents? Do I want them? Even if I refuse, they thrust presents on me. What for? If I accept them, I must yield to their wishes. It is like giving a bait to catch the fish. Is the Anxious to feed the fish. No, he is anxious to feed on the fish. Swami Lokeswarananda is sannyasi. What is meant by jnana and vijnana? Mercy. These words may mean differently according to the context. Jnana, samanya jnana or pure consciousness. Vijnana, vishesha jnana. Vishesha may be number one, worldly relative knowledge. Number two, transcendent self-realization. Mind is necessary for Vishesha. It modifies the purity of absolute consciousness. So, Vijnana represents intellect and the sheath composing it, that is relative knowledge. In that case, jnana is common, samanya, running through vijnana, samjnana, prajnana, ajnana, mati, dhirti, different modes of knowledge, wide. Upanishad, chapter 3, or Jnana is proksha, hearsay, and Vijnana is aproksha, direct perception, as in Jnana, Vijnana, Triptatma, one perfectly content with Jnana and Vijnana. Devotee, what is the relation between Brahma and Ishvara? Maharshi, Brahma is called Ishvara in relation to the world. Devotee, is it possible to speak to Ishvara as Sri Ramakrishna did? Maharshi, when we can speak to each other, why should we not speak to Ishvara in the same way? Devotee, then why does it not happen with us? Maharshi, it requires purity and strength of mind and practice in meditation. Devotee, does God become evident if the above conditions exist? Maharshi, such manifestations are as real as your own reality. In other words, when you identify yourself with the body as in Jagrat, you see gross objects. When in subtle body or in mental plane as in Swapna, you see objects equally subtle. In the absence of identification as in Susupti, you see nothing. The objects seen bear a relation to the state of seer. The same applies to visions of God. By long practice, the figure of God as meditated upon appears in dream and may later appear in Jagrat also. Devotee, is that state of God realization? Maharshi, listen to what happened once years ago. There was a saint by name Namdev. He could see, talk, and play with Vithoba as we do with another. He used to spend most of his time in the temple playing with Vithoba. On one occasion, the saints had assembled together, among whom was one Jnanadeva of well-established fame and eminence. Jnanadev asked Gora Kumhar, a potter saint, to use his proficiency in testing the soundness of baked pots and find out which of the assembled saints was properly baked clay. So Gora Kumar took his stick and gently struck each one's head in jokes as if to test. When he came to Namdev, the latter protested in a huff and laughed and hooted. Namdev was enraged and he sought Vithoba in the temple. Vithoba said that the saints knew best. This unexpected reply upset Namdev all the more. He said, "You are God, I converse and play with you. Can there be anything more to be gained by man?" Vithoba persists. The saints know. Namdev, tell me if there is anything more real than you. Vithoba, we have been so familiar with each other and that my advice will not have the desired effect on you. Seek the beggar saint in the forest and know the truth. Accordingly, Namdev sought out the particular saint mentioned by Vithoba. Namdev was not impressed with the holiness of the man, for he was nude, dirty, and was lying on the floor with his feet resting on a linga. Namdev wondered how this could be saint. The saint, on the other hand, smiled on Namdev and asked, "Did Vithoba send you here?" This was a great surprise to Namdev, who was now more inclined to believe the man to be great. So Namdev asked him, "You are said to be saint, why do you desecrate the linga?" The saint replied, "Indeed, I am too old and weak to do the right thing. Please lift my feet and place them where there is no linga." Namdev accordingly lifted the saint's feet and placed them elsewhere, but there was again a linga below them. However, the feet were placed then, and there appeared a linga underneath. Namdev finally placed the feet on himself, and he turned into a linga. Then Namdev understood that God was immanent and learned the truth and departed. He went home and did not go to the temple for several days. Vithoba now sought him out in his home and asked why Namdev would not go to the temple to see God. Namdev said, "Is there a place where he is not?" The moral of the story is clear. Visions of God have their place below the plane of self-realization. Talk 390 Devotee. When I read Sri Bhagwan's works, I find that investigation is said to be the one method for realization. Maharshi. Yes, what is vichara? Devotee, how is that to be done? Maharshi, the questioner must admit the existence of his self. I am is the realization. To pursue the clue till realization is vichara. Vichara and realization are the same. Devotee, it is elusive. What shall I meditate upon? Maharshi, meditation requires an object to meditate upon, whereas there is only the subject without the object in vichara. Meditation differs from vichara in this way. Devotee, is not dhyana one of the efficient processes for realization? Maharshi, dhyana is the concentration on an object. It fulfills the purpose of keeping away diverse thoughts and fixing the mind on single thought, which must also disappear before realization. But realization is nothing new to be acquired. It is already there but constructed by a screen of thoughts. All of our attempts are directed for lifting the screen, and then realization is revealed. If a true seeker is advised to meditate, many may go away satisfied with the advice, but someone among them may turn ra- round and ask, "Who am I to meditate on an object?" Such say one must be told to find the self. There is the finality, that is vichara. Devotee, which will vichara alone do in the absence of meditation? Maharshi, vichara is the process and the goal also. I am is the goal and the final reality. To hold to it with effort is vichara. When spontaneous and natural, it is realization. Talk number 391. The same sannyasi visitor Swami Lokesananda asked about samadhi. Maharshi, number 1, holding on to reality is samadhi. Number 2, holding on to reality with effort is savikalpa samadhi. Third, merging in reality and remaining unaware of the world is nirvikalpa samadhi. Fourth, merging in ignorance and remaining unaware of the world is sleep. Head bends but not in samadhi. Fifth, remaining in the primal pure natural state without effort is sahaja nirvikalpa samadhi. Devotee, It is said that one remaining in Nirvikalpa Samadhi for 21 days must necessarily give up the physical body. Mercy Samadhi means passing beyond the Atma Buddhi, I am the body idea, and not identification of the body with the self is a foregone conclusion. There are said to be persons who have been immersed in a nirvikalpa samadhi for 1,000 years or so. Top 392. Swami Lokeshananda continued another series of questions. Devotee, they say that Kundalini must be roused before realization and that its awakening makes the body feel hot. Is that so, Maharshi? The yogis call it Kundalini Shakti. It is the same as a virtue of the form of God. Bhagavatkara virtue of the bhaktas and virtue of the form of Dharma. Brahmakara virtue of jnanis. It must be preliminary to realization. The sensation produced may be said to be hot. Devotee Kundalini is said to be of the shape of a serpent, but Virtis cannot be so. Maharshi, the Kundalini of Jnana Mararga is said to be the heart, which is also described in various ways as a network of nadis of the shape of serpent, of a lotus bud, etc. Devotee, is this heart the same as the physiological heart? Mercy, no. Sri Ramana Gita defines it as the origin of the I thought. Devotee, but I read that it is on the right of the chest, Maharshi. It is all meant to help the bhavana, imagery. There are books dealing with the six centers, Sadchakra, and many other lakshyas, centers, internal and external. The description of the heart is one among so many lakshyas, but it is not necessary. It is only the source of the I thought. That's the ultimate truth. Devotee, may we take it to be source of Antahkarnas Maharshi. The inner organs Antahkarnas are classified as five. Number one, knowledge, jnana. Number two, mind, manas. Number three, intellect, buddhi. Number four, memory, chitta. And five, the ego, ahankara. Some say only the latter four. Others say only two, namely manas, mind, and number two, Ahankara, the ego. Still others say the Antahkarna is only one whose different functions make it appear differently and hence its different names. Heart is thus the source of Antahkarnas. There is the body which is insentient, there is the self which is eternal and self luminous. In between the two, there has arisen a phenomenon, namely the ego, which goes under these different names: mind, manas, intellect, buddhi, memory, chitta, and ego, ahankara, power, shakti, life current, prana, etc. Seek your source. The search takes you to the heart automatically. The antahakarnas are only ideas, kalpana, to explain the subtle body, sukshma sarira. The physical body, sarira, is made up of the elements earth, air, fire, water, and ether. It is insentient. The self is pure and self luminous and thus self evident. The relation between the two is sought to be established by positing a subtle body composed of the subtle aspects of the five elements on the one hand and the reflected light of the self on the other. In this way, the subtle body, which is synonymous with the mind, is both insentient and insentient, that is, abhasa, again by the play of pure quality, sattva guna on the elements, their brightness. Sattva aspect manifest as the mind, manas, and the senses. Jnanendriya by the play of Rajas active quality and Raja active aspect manifest as life, prana and limbs. Karmendriyas by the play of dullness, tamas and tama dark aspect manifest as the gross phenomenon of the body, etc. Devotee. But the mind is reputed to have these three qualities also, Maharshi. Yes, there is purity sattva in the pure quality, activity in it, rajas in sattva, and dullness also tamas in sattva, and so on. Suddha sattva is quite pure. Misra mixed sattva is a combination of sattva and other qualities. The quality sattva implies only its predominance over the other two qualities. Later Sri Bhagwan continued, the intricate maze of the philosophy of different schools is said to classify matters and reveal the truth. But in fact, they create confusion where no confusion need exist. To understand anything, there must be the self. Self is obvious. Why not remain as the self? What need to explain the non-self? Take the Vedanta for instance. They say there are 15 kinds of prana. The student is made to commit the names to memory and also their function. The air goes up and is called prana, goes down and is called apana, operates the indriyas and is called something. Why all this? Why do you classify, give names and enumerate the function and so on? Is it not enough to know that one prana does the whole work? The Antahkarana thinks, desires, wills, reasons, etc., and each function is attributed to one name, such as mind, intellect, etc. Has anyone seen the pranas or the Antahkaranas? Have they have they any real existence? They are mere conceptions. When and where will such conceptions end? Consider the following. A man sleeps. He says on waking that he slept. The question is asked, why does he not say in his sleep that he is sleeping? The answer is given that he is sunk in the self and cannot speak. Like a man who has dived in water to bring out something from the bottom. The diver cannot speak underwater. When he has actually recovered the articles, he comes out and speaks well. What is the explanation? Being in water, water will flow into his mouth if he were to open the mouth for speaking. Is it not simple? But the philosopher is not content with this simple fact. He explains, saying that the fire is the deity presiding over speech, that is inimical to water and therefore cannot function. This is called philosophy. And the learners are struggling to learn all this. Is it not a sheer waste of time? Again, the gods are said to preside over the limbs and senses of the individual Vesti. They are the limbs and senses of Virat Samasti. So they go on explaining Hiranyagarbha, etc. Why should confusion be created and then explained away? Ah, fortunate is the man who does not involve himself in this maze. I was indeed fortunate that I never took to it. Had I taken to it, I would probably nowhere. Always in confusion. My Purva Vasanas, former tendencies directly took me to the inquiry, who am I? It was indeed fortunate. So I end this video here. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Video number 24 will start with talk number 393. Thanks a lot. Namaskar, my dear friend. Namaskar.